Good afternoon. So this is a Sunday afternoon, and thank you for joining me for a spot of stitching. So what I'm working on today is a heaven and earth design, and this is a I think it's Love Letter Chocolate Shop or something like that. I'll get the proper title. And this is on 25 counts, half stitches. So this is actually my first half stitch or 10 stitch project. And the floss I'm using for this project is actually not DMC, it's CXC. And it's really nice and fluffy. I really enjoy stitching it. So join me. I've got a cup of coffee ready here. So I normally use hang on. So I normally do a full cross stitch, but I was feeling adventurous the other day. So I thought, well, maybe I can start a project with 10 stitches and see how it goes. And that's partially why I chose CXC floss instead of DMC, because DMC floss in the UK is pretty pricey. So I thought if I was going to just do it like an experiment, just in case I don't like it, if I don't like it, I can just stop doing it. Then I'm not wasting any DMC threads. But lo and behold, I really enjoy it, and I love the feel of the CXC floss. Actually, it's kind of full body. I think I've got that one incorrectly. Which one did I do? Oh dear. Okay, I'm actually doing this one instead. So I need to constantly check the colors, otherwise I just get it in the wrong spot. So the reason I didn't really try 10 stitches, half stitches, because I had this idea that the coverage is probably not going to be that great. And also I feel like I'm cheating, you know, you're doing half the stitches instead of one full stitch. So but that worry is actually unfounded. coverage is really good, and because CXC floss, they're quite full body. They look soft comparing to the MC. Excuse me, but it's actually quite full body once you stitch it, so it's nice and full. So if you zoom out a bit, I don't think you can tell the difference between the 10 stitches versus the full cross. It's this one I'm doing. Done. These ones as well. So look, okay, there's another place I can park. Needs a little bit of a concentration. Here we go. On to the next one. So I really love how the CXC floss feels, and price-wise, is much cheaper. So I think because it's cheaper, people tend to think maybe it's not as good. So I'm going to go to the right. But I say if you get a chance to get hold of CXC threads, I don't know whether you can get it outside the UK. You probably can on Etsy. Give it a go, because the full set, so they match the DMC threads, the same color system, so it's quite easy to work out. And I'm going to park on the next one. There. So it's the same color system as DMC, so there's no conversion you need to make. And for the full set, I think it's over, 300 colors. The full set, you can get it for under £50, British pounds. Whereas DMC, to get a full set, we're talking maybe 350 to 400. Depends on where you get it. It's over here, under here. So it's quite a big price difference. So if you have projects maybe a little bit experimental, you're not, sure if you want to commit, getting DMC threads all the way, then I've got two part thread of the same color. Okay, then give DMC a try. So if you park as much as I do, when you use CXC, you probably find that just more parking thread because it's quite full body in terms of the kind of the feel of the floss. So that, you know, you might feel like there's a little bit more to manage, but not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. So I'm going to part this one here. I've got these done. This one here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, right here. Let me have a sip of my coffee. Got a nice cup of black coffee here. Oh, coffee and stitching is heaven. So peaceful. And as you can see, I'm using Pattern Keeper here. So let's have a look. So this thread is a little bit short here. I need a little bit of help for threading. I need a little bit of help from time to time. Going for these two. I got two of the same color part here. And this one is a little bit tricky. Down. Oh dear. What did I do? Went down the wrong corner. So the thing with half cross, particularly if you're used to full cross, it's a little bit trickier in terms of recognizing where the stitches are, because you only, with full cross, the stitches look like a square, and it's a lot easier to count. 1, 2 here. Okay. Whereas half stitches, visually, it takes some getting used to. So you don't get the incorrect spots. But it's a nice challenge, you know, particularly if you've been stitching a certain way for a long time. Let's have a look. Why do I have one thread missing? Okay. I've got one part thread here, which is this one. So I don't have the part thread for the second one. Interesting. Oh, maybe I parked in the wrong spot. Okay, so this is actually the one. So it's like kind of a mini puzzle you have to solve each time in terms of where you park, which direction you take your thread. And parking method is, it may or may not be for you. You know, some people just can't bear the idea of having all this thread hanging down there. I love it. There are projects that I do without parking. I kind of switch from time to time. I like varieties. So I change my stitching method from time to time and based on the project as well. So I've done these ones and I'm going to park right here. Beautiful. And I love the feeling of managing threads. It's my thing. It feels like you're ironing out. It's like some people love ironing. I think it's kind of similar. Let me just see where I should go next. And I normally pick a method. There are different stitching methods, but I would kind of bend it to suit my needs. I find it very hard to follow a certain method to a T. I just can't do that. My instinct is trying to change it so it works better for me. I can't help it. So with this one, so the quote-unquote method I'm doing right now is a bastardized version of hang on, 3 here. Okay, it's a bastardized version of, I think it's called snake version, a snake method. It's by a lovely lady whose name I should remember, or the channel name. I think it's called, I'll dig it out. I'll put it on the screen. Basically go row by row in theory. Hang on, let me pick this one here. Oh, I'm going to break some rules here now, because I'm trying to get to this stitch there. So, in theory, row by row. And as you can see here, I'm not doing it very successfully. So, why do I have 2 here? Oh, okay. Yeah, got you. You do row by row, and for reasons I never quite got, you do it from left to right in odd number rows, and then right to left in even number rows. I probably just didn't pay enough attention to figure out why that is. And for me, that's probably a little bit over the top for me, because to count the number of rows is just a bit too much for me. So I generally go from left to right, or no particular order. And let me have a look. There is another duplicate thread here. Have I parked it the wrong way? I think there's another one here of the same color, I think, because some of these colors look very similar. So let me take my thread over here. Next to this one. It's an intricate operation that requires concentration. Right. So what I'm doing here, okay, I missed one over there actually. The one I really want to get into. So you probably notice I thread a lot. I thread, and for some people that's a kind of the pain point. So to do kind of the method I'm doing right now, you probably have to enjoy threading to a certain extent. And I do. Once you kind of get hold of the techniques, it's not bad. But from time to time, the thread might get a little bit floppy like now. Then I always have a threader by my side and come to rescue. But generally, threading is kind of quite relaxing for me. I think I missed a stitch here. Good. And for this one, I'm going to park under here. 1, 2, 3. Right here. Good. So in theory, go row by row, but according to the creator of this method, my coffee, you're allowed to stitch the row below if there's a stitch above. So it's a nice rule. I enjoy that because it frees you from needing to go a single row at a time. And here's an example. Let me show you. So in theory here, I'm stitching this particular row here. So I should just stop right here, but there's actually another stitch right here below. And because there's already one stitch above, I can just go ahead and stitch this one. Okay, this is this area. It's a little bit tight here. But sometimes you have a lot of park thread underneath. So I can stitch this particular one. And if there was another stitch of the same color underneath, I'm allowed to do that as well. So I'm going to park the next stitch here. And I love this method because you don't end up with boxed in stitches, which is not very nice to stitch. I think some people don't mind. And it might not be so bad when you're doing 1/1 for 25 counts, you know, with a single strand. And it's not so bad if you stitch in stitches where there's stitches around, the boxed in stitches. Another stitch over here. But with most projects, that is not a good stitching experience for me. 2 from here, 1, 2. So it really depends on what's important for you. I think speed-wise, yes, it's slower than if you just go cross-country of any form, or fill in one color at a time. Some people do within a defined area, whereas 1 block or 2 blocks. But those methods, you do end up with a lot of boxed in stitches you have to fill in, and which I know I don't enjoy. So I've tried, and that's a no-go for me. And I don't mind stitching a little bit slower. It's I'm stitching to relax. Yes, I like to be able to finish something at some point. But it's all about the moment-to-moment experience for me. Where am I? I'm slightly further down. Another one here. Why am I ending up with 2 stitches here? Okay, fine. I think I missed this one. So I'm doing this area. We're fine. And even if you make a mistake here and there, to be honest, with pieces like this, you really can't tell. So I'm okay with that. Lovely. And there's one more stitch I'm gonna park over here, just the edge. Good. There's something so therapeutic about completing an area, through the seemingly chaotic floss everywhere, but you create this lovely stitched area. That's what this is all about. In fact, now I'm going to focus on this area a little bit, so I can fill in this square area. Good. So 154. I'm going to add another thread here. 154. Good. And let me just pick a thread here. So stitching is about the moment-to-moment pleasure, for me anyway. So I'm not too worried when I'll finish something. It's nice to have this little some mini milestones. When you either complete a blog or a page, or just allowed an image to reveal through the stitching. It's joyous, it's satisfying. So I'm doing this area, 3 stitches here. So see, I'm going down all the way, breaking the rules. I think it's part of the rule. Part of the rules you can stitch down, but I'm going to stitch these areas. So whichever way that makes sense for me. So it's you have to make judgment call as you stitch. So it's interesting. You don't have to, you're not in autopilot. And sometimes nice to be in, to kind of just not have to think. But for me, I need a little bit of brain stimulation as I stitch. Or I get bored if it's totally predictable. If I can see exactly what I need to do, then I get a little bit bored. And with this method, I feel that I have to constantly look at the stitch, the color distribution, and have a strategy, And the goal of my strategies are not to have boxed in stitches, for one, and also optimize the thread I'm using. So I'm not wasting thread by carrying a thread, a stitch too far, the thread too far. And also not to have, this is a big thing for me, not to have floating thread floating behind the work. It's a big thing for me, yes. So by that, I think I have one. Hang on. 1, 2. I may have put this one incorrectly. That's fine. I'll move it. Oh no, I think it's fine. Okay, so there's one stitch here. Not having floating thread behind the work is kind of a big thing for me. So I've got these two done. So I do my absolute best. Hang on, let me just find this. 1, 2. Oh wait, why do I have one over here as well? I forgot to place the parking icon. There's a ready one. Okay, fine. Then I'll part this one down below. I'll bring this one down to the left here. That one. So I would only carry the thread over a stitch area. There's probably no more than 3 stitches. So for instance, if you imagine this is the the back of the work, I would not bring my thread over there, for instance, because there will be a kind of overlap area here. Oh, I can't bear that. So my whole strategy, so to speak, is to make sure that if I want to carry thread over some area, it will be over on stitch area. So I generally go diagonally, so it goes this way, and I tend to part thread toward the right or down, something like that. So there's no hard and fast rules. So as you can see, it's kind of diagonal, but it's not straight diagonal. I can't be very precise with things, so I try to keep it loose. And there's a nice thing when you have a really broad area that's open, that's stitchable, so to speak. You can kind of pick and choose different color groups. So if I'm get really fatigued with the pink area, which is beautiful, I can jump over here and start stitching this area, for instance. That's nice and green, and back and forth. So the wider it goes, the more options you have, which I love. So let me have a look at why I'm here. So I'm trying to fill in this area now, and then go toward the right. So it's not a speedy process. I'm totally okay with that. You know, I almost want to call it a slow stitch movement. Or something like that. Let me see, there might be one stitch missed there, but I don't mind. Let me just do this one. No one will notice. No one will notice. Let's have a look. So there's one stitch on the left there I may have missed with another very similar color. Very similar pink. So I'm going to just stitch this one over there. No one will notice. So it's this one here. And then I'm going to actually park underneath here rather than stitch the one underneath. Okay, here we go. It's beautiful purple 718. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah. Not sure this is the correct color. 718 should be 718 should be a pink. I don't know why this is a purple. Let me snip this one off. Actually, when I'm not sure, I rather end the thread. So let me just take this one down and then bring it out somewhere down here. And end the thread. Good. So what is this one then? is it T? I may have messed this up. Part, this one. There's another thread here, really mysterious. Let me see, which one could it be? Let me, and this one as well. I don't think this is the correct number, correct color. 718. 718 is supposed to be this pink. So let me take one thread here so I get a correct color. I'm going to end this one down here. Ah, I see. I know which one this is now. Okay. That's fine. I just parked in the wrong area. Oh, I see. Hang on. And this one is... I know what's going on now. I think this one here, this should be over here. Okay, I got it. And this one, the pink, is, I think, is identical to this one. Okay, so 154 supposed to go the other way. So I can put this one away for now. Well, I think because this fabric, this particular one, is not gridded. It's not gridded. So the chances of parking in a different area is greater, but it's part of the challenge. It's part of the challenge. So here to the bottom. The one next to this one. Good. It's very subtle here. So very often when you're stitching a quite confetti area, you could get the location incorrectly very easily, but because they all parked in a similar area, so you can figure it out, and it's part of, I wouldn't say the fun, but I enjoy it. Once you figure out what's going on, it's kind of there's a sense of completion, satisfaction. I think overall, to stitch in this method, you really need to, you have to enjoy the process, you know, trial and even errors, even mistakes. You need to enjoy that. It's lovely. Good. So I've done this one. I parked it here. I'm going to keep going till I fill in that corner there. Good. This one looks correct. Yay. Beautiful. Good. I'm doing 2 stitches here. I'm going to stitch that one as well. Ooh, racy pacey. One more there. Okay. So that's the 1, 2, and that one. Right. I'm going to park beneath from this area. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, and the one below. Good. Another sip of my coffee. Just one stitch there, and I'm going to end it. I don't think there's any more underneath. So I generally part downwards, and if not, I take it to the right or left, if that makes sense. Good. Let's see. I can hear birds chirping out there. So in front of me there's a big window overlooking my patio. Let's see, let me bring it down here. And it's been reasonably mild for UK standard at this time of the year. It was much colder maybe 2 weeks ago, and then suddenly you sense the spring. So with this, I normally just place it back to my thread organizer and just leave the needle on top of it. 3705. So let me show you here. So it's down here. 3705. Just put it back. So I make sure I use the maximum amount of the thread as much as I can. I don't like to waste anything, because I think, you know, when I look at these beautiful threads, their destiny is to be stitched onto a fabric. So as much as possible, I want to use it up as much as I can without throwing anything away. So this one, there's another one underneath. I'm going to stitch this one. Okay, and then 2 stitches down. 1, 2. Park. Actually, let me do this one first. border. A lot of hot pinks. It's beautiful. Right. Where do I take this? Right here. I'm going to take it to the area. All right. There's only one there. So I'm going to take it all the way up. Interesting. Oh, it's already... Hang on. This area is already stitched. Hang on a bit. Maybe it is. So sometimes I miss the parking area. I forget to place the park symbol sometimes. I'm preoccupied. So let me see. 1, 2. I'm here. 1, 2, down here. So it's about keeping the app as accurate as possible. That's another task. Okay, so that's out of the way. Down here. Alright, I think this one is part incorrectly. It should be, oh yeah, it's correct. So with gridding, I'm actually using a dot instead. I could have just drawn the whole grid, I guess, but I wanted to try the dots, see if it's doable for me, because most of my projects, either the fabric is already gridded or I draw lines. But when the fabric is really delicate like this one, and also 25 counts is quite small, the pen I'm using at least, the ink is spreading a little bit wider than I like. So sometimes it blurs, it actually bleeds over to more than one corner, which is kind of confusing. I could have used other kind of pens, but these ones you can dissolve the ink with water, so it's very easy to remove. So these two are done. Oh, one stitch to go for this block. So this nice orange. Beautiful. It's so enjoyable to stitch something that's so colorful. I'll put you in a really good mood. So with this one, I'm going to park over here, just slightly above. Oh, see, there's another one. Another parking icon I missed. Let me just remove that and place it over there. So this block is completed. Lovely. Let's mark it. And I'm really grateful to have something like pattern keeper, because how else do you stitch patterns like this without something to keep you to track your stitches? It just seems extremely difficult. Let me move over. Let's see, maybe I can continue with this area here. Let's have a look what's going on here. I think there are a few stitches I missed in marking on the app. Let me tease these ones out. That one is over there as well. Okay, this one's within. Let's start from this one so we can figure out what's going on here. Okay, the color is correct, I think. One stitch over here. And another one over here. I'm gonna just go over the other block. You can see what's happening here with me. One moment I'm saying I'm going to concentrate on a certain area, and within seconds I'm breaking that promise. I'm actually going over the next block. Right, so in order to stitch this bit, I don't think there's a part thread there, that's not correct. I'm going to take one from the right here. So I want to move the thread over. So very often you would have the same color thread part multiple times within a certain area, because you might have two sort of areas with the same color, but they're flowing toward a different direction. But I try my best not to introduce too many duplicate threads, because you end up with a lot of threads in a small area. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, yes, it's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One underneath, I think. Good. I'm going to park here. And so that's from the next block. Oh dear. I think we have another situation. I want to figure out what's going on here. So, pink. I don't think this one is the correct color. 154. And then okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me start from this side then. Let me see. So I have, it's like a puzzle with this one. Why don't I stitch this one first so we can figure it out? What is going on here? stitch here. And let me park underneath this one. Okay, so the one next to it is this one. It's one below here. Okay, so it means this one is the one I forgot to park. Okay, the situation has become a bit more clear. So that one is actually done, even though the color might not be correct, but no one will notice, right? You wouldn't know if I didn't tell you. Okay, so let's move down here. Let's see. There's a situation here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why does it look like this? This one. That should be. That one is red, so that one's correct. This one, oh, I see. Okay. I get it. I get it. It's a little bit of mystery happening here. Why don't I just remove this one so we can start fresh? That's the best solution. If in doubt, remove. Let's try it. Just introduce the correct one. Okay. I know what's happening because these ones are not stitched yet. That's why. That's the confusion. Okay. Let me just part this one down there. So it can be stitched over, and I can remove these tails. Here. So 3805. 3805. Ah, it's a nice pink here. It's this one. So the dark color I had before was not correct. Okay. No problem here. So it's been around an hour of stitching, and I finished about 70 stitches. So you can tell this is not a speedy stitch situation here, but it's extremely relaxing. I enjoy every moment. And also because I think this is quite a confetti area. So I think this one is not correct, but I'm gonna just let it be. But it's quite a lot of color changes, and also depends on the method of your choice. You know, if you're doing color complete within the block, you can just go and fill up all the stitches there within the area, but it's just not what I choose to do. we all have our path and choose how we live and how we stitch. And this is my path. And your paths might be different. And I can see I've got another part, duplicate thread there, because I didn't realize this bit had not been stitched. That's what caused the confusion. So what I'm going to do, because I already have another part thread over there, I'm going to just go and end this thread here, just to keep it neat and tidy. And I will be able to remove all these tails after I stitch down a couple of rows, so everything is nice and tucked down. 3805. Put my thread there. This beautiful hot pink, purpley pink. And one more next to it, these two. Really beautiful. And then I'm going to come down here. 1, 2, 3, down. 2, 3. And then you see I part 1, 2, 3, 4 underneath. Okay. So no problem at all. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. 2. Hang on. No. This is, I think, the stitch 1 off. One, 2, 3, 4. 1 over to the left. Okay. One, 2. So this thread I just part underneath, I part 1 row too high, so you can just move it down. And I'm going to park this thread under here. Good. Ish. And I'm going to move on. It is lovely red, bright red thread. You know, with the patterns I choose, I know there are a lot of beautiful patterns, landscape or any kind of images. If they have a lot of similar colors, like a big sky or some sort of dark background. Doesn't matter how beautiful they are. I just know I can't do it because I'll get bored. One, the second one. Yes, I'll just get visually fatigued, mentally fatigued. So the design I go for, they have variations of colors and a lot going on within the images as well, because the motivation, the driving force for me is that constant changes. Let me do this bit. Yeah. So I need those changes. So a lot of images, they are really pretty and sophisticated and very subtle colors that I know are just not going to work for me. So I'm going to 154. 154 is this burgundy color. 154. Let me have a look. Let me try this one instead. Jammed a little bit. Let me figure it out. Here we go. Sometimes you can get jammed a little bit when you pull the thread up. And let's have a look. Here we go. Oh, another sip of coffee. Here we go. I think I'm gonna go for another 15 minutes or so and take a break. So I'm going for Seria. Cross over there. So this is kind of the maximum number of stitched area across, probably about 3. My neighbor just come in, I think. You can hear the door. One more here. And then one below. Oh, I always feel like I'm cheating when I stitch the row below before the row is complete. It feels good. Good. So now I'm going to park it under here. So you're looking at a really unedited, unbeautified process of me stitching. This is a real thing. You make mistakes sometimes, you mess up the parking area sometimes, the thread stuck or jammed sometimes. This is all real. Let me try this one, because when the thread gets a bit shorter for some reason, they become harder to thread. So I'm going to go for these 2 stitches here. And when you're in a really confetti area, it's such a sort of somewhere you can take a breath, when you have an area you can just stitch continuously, more than 3, for instance. It just feels like a nice change. But at the same time, if you're stitching somewhere that's just one block of the same color, I can't speak for anyone else, I get bored. So I think the thread is getting a little bit short here, so I'm going to stitch the one underneath. A little bit naughty, I know, but and then I'm going to end the thread. So there are judgment calls you make, and ultimately it's your work, it's your stitching experience. You're not answering to anybody. So stitch the way that makes sense to you. Intuitive stitching, that's what I should call it. Intuitive stitching. So this one probably part one row too high, so I'm gonna just do that now. It'll be nice and tidy. So the great thing about row by row is that if you make any mistake, you can spot it and fix it. Whereas if you do cross country of any kind, it's much harder to fix. And most of the times I say that, there are probably mistakes that you can't really notice. But obviously you want to avoid it, minimize it as much as you can. And this one under here. And this one here, why not? Okay, and I'm going to park it here. Good. Going to go for 718. Okay, here we go. I've got 1 3 ready. So I'm going to go and fill in these areas. Okay. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. One here. Good. And I'm going to park one stitch away from here. One more bit, one more colour before I take a break, I think. Okay, so these ones, 3 stitches here. One more. And then I'm going to park it 2 stitches away from here. There you go. So for about an hour and 20 minutes or so, I finished 106 stitches. It's actually not too bad considering how confetti the area is. So I'm happy with that. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.